So hello everybody and welcome to today's video. Today, my friends, I'm very happy to be here to present another build, and this time we are talking about the Cyclone Slayer build. Okay, it's again one with Impale, but it's very different from our first build, and I'm not afraid to say that this is the build that I like the most really to play. It was so fun to play and very strong. I was really in love with it, and this time, like, a big shout out to my friend Rumsey, because he came over to our stream at some point and he gave us the build. Not as you are seeing it, most of the stuff is from him, but we have made it a bit better because I had some currency, so with the viewers we have made it more perfect or so. So as the last guides about builds that we have done, I'm gonna also copy paste the Pastebin link so that you can put it into your path of building and you can just check out the build as you please, and maybe make it even stronger. Then also I'm gonna put the link where our build is based, okay, that the Drumsy gave us, so you can check up. Maybe you don't have the currency to copy the build as you see it here. Maybe there are some variants, cheaper variants, so that you can at least come close to this. So we are gonna start with the pros and the cons, then we will go to the skill gems, the gear and flasks, skill tree and remainings. Then I'm gonna show you how I play it, and a whole map, a tier 16 map that we will play with this build. So let's not talk too much and let's go for the video, my friends. So now we are just gonna start with the pros. At the pros, the first thing I have to say is that this build has an amazing clearance. Okay, a map clearance, and as well as a single target that is very high. I have done Sirius on level 8, Deathless, and in a blink of an eye you go really from one phase to another. Then the second thing is that with this build you can almost do every map mod. There is only one map mod that you can't really do. It is when the map don't allow you to life leech. You can still do it with your regeneration, but I wouldn't do it. So that's the only thing. You can do physical reflection, yes, because of the skill tree on your ascendancy. You can do physical reflection as well as elemental reflection because you don't do any elemental damage. So it's really nice build if you want to do mapping. Then the third thing is, it's not an expensive build, really, for what you get, for the DPS you get, for the surviving skills you get, because I'm level 97 and stuff. He is very strong, and it's not expensive for what you get. What you get out, you can really do whatever you want with this build, really. So the next thing is, it's a Cyclone build, okay? If you are in love just like me of Cyclone builds, it's a big pro. But what is so special about this build is that you are using the savior with its reflections. It is amazing because you have like two swords swirling around like your cyclone, and also clearing with you. Okay, they do 50% of your damage, and it's huge. Okay, it's not a cyclone build that you have to go to every corner to kill the monsters. No, those guys are gonna, for the clearance, they are gonna do it for you also. So you go through the middle, they go from left and right, and you shred everything. It's amazing. Then what is also very amazing about this build is actually that on the ascendancy we have Bane of Legends, kill enemies that have 20% or lower life when hit by your skills. My friends, this is amazing when you are playing against Sirius. Why? Because the deadliest phase of this fight is actually the last one, and you only have to survive one of the phases, because the last one you're gonna just skip it because he's gonna die. That's very, very, very nice. And now let's go for the cons. And since I'm so in love with this build, I have only one con that I can really say something that is bad about this build is actually also the reflections. Since the reflections are also very big and they cover a vast area of your screen, especially when they are near to you, you don't see stuff coming. Okay, the most times when I died, it was actually of stuff that came near, explosions, and I wasn't able to see it. Okay, so that's the only negative point that I can say. Also on the serious fight, sometimes you don't see stuff on the ground, and it's very important, especially in this fight. But that's all I can really say about this build, like negative, and the positives I have already said. So now let's go for the skill gems. And now let's talk about the skill gems on this build. We are using two one-handed swords. So the first one-handed sword, I'm using the Blood Magic Ancestral Wall Sheath, but the Vol version with Blood Rage. Then I have Blood Magic with increased duration and the Vol Molten Shell. Okay, so, and then we have on our helmet, we got the Blood and Sand, the War Banner, and the Precision with our portal. Okay, and then on our 6th Linked, it's gonna be the Cyclone with Impale. Then we got the Awakened Brutality support with Infused Channeling support, the Fortify support, and at last awakened melee physical damage support. Then on the remaining 2 4 linkeds, we got Summoned Stone Golem with Blood Magic, Endurance Charge on melee stun, Leap Slam, that's our mobility skill gem. And then lastly we are having the Flash and Stone Enlighten support with Maim support and Pride. So as you can see, we have a lot of blood magic. Why? Because our whole build we are not using mana, and as you can see I have only 3 remaining. But that's all we can say now about the skill gems, and let's go for the gear and the flasks. So and now let's talk about the gear and the flasks. We are just gonna start with the helmet, the Stargonia's head. As you can see, the enchantment, very important. You will go, the best is increased cyclone attack speed, the 15% one, but you can also go for attack damage. The cyclone attack damage enchantment, it's 40%, if I'm not wrong. Why the Stargonias? Because it has a lot of dexterity. It's something that we need because of the Cyclone skill gem. Then it has increased attack speed, global critical strike, much life, and very important, it's the last line, increased global evasion rating when on low life, 150%. I'm certain it had already like saved my life many times. Then on our main hand we are gonna do take a Javelin foil because of the global critical strike implicit, and then on the mods we want the most physical damage DPS that we can take. So that's the most important to see when you're watching for your main hand weapon. Then on our second one, it's gonna be the Savior. It is the base of this build. It's the most important thing that you can buy. It's because of the triggers level 20 reflection. That's those 2 swords that you're gonna see swirling around you. It's because of the Savior. So then we are talking about the armor. What is very important about this, I mean, I just recommend you to take Astral Plate because of the implicit to the plus 12% to all elemental resistance. But what we will look for is the socketed attacks have minus 15 to total mana cost. So the Cyclone doesn't use any mana, so you can be like turning around or spinning around as you please, and you are not using any mana. And then we are going for maximum life, increase maximum life, and so on. If you can afford, you can try to get like a critical strike on this one, or even the explosion mod, you know, that nearby enemies explode for the physical, their life as physical damage. Okay, but it's gonna be very costly. If you can already afford one like that, it's more than enough, believe me what I'm telling you. Then we are going for our amulet. There's not much to say. Maximum life with resistances, then physical damage to attacks, that extra flat physical damage, and yeah, there's not much to say. Then what is very important is we are using a Mark of the Elder. The Mark of the Elder, there is something we gotta check, is that increase attack damage if your other ring is a shaper item. So you have to manage that this one is a shaper, because 96% increased attack damage, I can tell you, that's a huge boost to your DPS. And on the other ring, we are gonna go for the Assassin's Mark on hit. It's very important. And then we go for maximum life, then physical damage to attacks, the flat damage, and some critical strike signs. This base is the diamond ring, and this implicit is a critical strike. Then we are going for, you will see every Cyclone build using this. It's the spike gloves because of the increased melee damage. We are using again attack speed, very important. I would say it's the most important. Then we got life, then the resistance that you need, then physical damage to attacks, the flat damage, and then socketed gems are supported by level 18 faster attacks because of, you see, the leap slam, so it's faster, but it's not very mandatory, I would say, okay, to have this first line. Then we got our boots. That's the easiest gear of our build. It is maximum life, increased movement speed, and our resistances to be capped. And we are ending our gear with this Stygian Wise, or Stygian Wise, I don't know how to pronounce it in English. The most life we can get, the resistances, and then we will put here, very important, the chance to gain onslaught, murderous eye jewel. Okay, that's very important. The last line here is that we are gaining the onslaught because of this jewel right there. And then global critical strike if you can afford with life, and yeah, cold damage to claw attacks. It doesn't bring anything, but I didn't find any other one that could fit. Yeah, I mean, it was at the beginning of the league. I'm sure now you could maybe replace this cold damage to claw attacks with something like physical damage to attacks or whatever, you know. So that's it with the gear. Let's go now for the flasks. What is very important is to have a life flask with instant recovery. Okay, because when you're using that, you want the life to come back because you're leeching the rest. So that is very important, instant recovery. Then we got the diamond flask because of our critical strike chance is lucky with remove curses. So here we have remove burning, then here remove curses. Here we got the increased movement speed. What is very good about this one is the increased duration. So if you can afford, take one like that, because movement speed is very important because of your Cyclone. You are spinning around all the time, and the faster you move, the more you will clear, or faster you will clear. Then we got the sulfur flask, creates increased damage. Okay, 14% increased damage, but it's very important, and remove freeze and chill. I think that's so important. And lastly, we are going for Rumis, the granite flask, okay, plus 3000 to armor, and the block attack and block spell is very important, especially when you see a big or a huge number of monsters coming, or a boss fight to come. So that's pretty much it, what we could say about the gear and the flasks. And now we are going about or gonna talk about the skill tree and the remainings. Let's go. So let's talk about the skill tree. As you can see, you can just copy this skill tree with its jewels. But this jewel is, in my opinion, very important because of the chance to knock enemies back on hit. Since it's gonna like be very, very good. First of all, defensively and attacking, since your opponents or monsters are gonna bleed, and if they move, they bleed out faster. Then we got here on our other jewel, we got corrupted blood cannot be inflicted on you. That's also very, very, very good to have defensively speaking. And then we got the attack speed, and we want the most attack speed we really can afford. It's gonna be like, let's say you can copy paste the Pastebin, and then you can just go and copy the whole build. But I want to remind you, and that's the most important, that's the thing that you will not see on the path of building. It is the cluster jewels. So first we are just gonna use, or we are gonna start with a large cluster jewel. Okay, with deep cuts, very important. Deep cuts, it's the most important to have. And then the drive to destruction, and 2 jewel signs. We are using 2 medium cluster jewels. So you're gonna buy one like that. Then on one you will go for medium cluster jewel with another jewel with basics of pain and pressure points. And added small passive skills grant 15% increased critical strike. That's huge. So you're gonna use one like that. Okay, and then you're gonna use all of them, okay, all of the points, and at the end you're gonna go again for increased maximum life, lightning resistance, because I needed this resistance, attack speed with swords, and +8 to all attributes. You gotta check what you need. Okay, this is a normal jewel that I have put on, but you can also go for a small cluster jewel. I'm sure or certain if you min max, you can make this build even stronger. So on the other hand, we are gonna go again with a jewel socket, medium cluster jewel. Okay, a jewel socket on it, precise focus, and hexbreaker. Okay, and then at the end again we got another normal jewel with increased maximum life, the resistance, again attack speed, because we can't have too much attack speed with some strength and intelligence, but you can do or go for anything else. Just keep in mind, increased maximum life and attack speed should be on it if you buy a jewel. And I think that's the most I could like tell you. Also the ascendancy, it's very important to go for this. I would say you can try, I didn't try it myself, but if you you take out this one, you're gonna lose the reflection, the physical reflection. Okay, that means you can do the mod with physical reflection on the maps, and here the 20% that bosses or monsters are gonna die at 20%, but you could try to go for this signs here. I think you will survive more often. I didn't try it myself, and I don't know why I didn't do it, but you could try to maybe take this out. It's gonna take a bit of your damage out, but here you're gonna survive better. You can try, let me know in the commentary if you have done it and if it really worked out better for you. So that's what I could say about the skill tree, and now I'm gonna talk about how I play it. Let's go. So now let's talk about how I play this build. It is actually very easy if you pay attention. So I am activating my blood and sand and my flesh and stone. Okay, so you're gonna keep it all the time on red. I know you should use the sand stance when you're clearing, and the red one, the blood stance, when you're going for bosses, but I'm using all the time this one and it works very well. You're not lagging on damage, I can tell you that. Then the war banner always activated. I'm not placing it, just keeping it so that I don't forget to take it with me again or to activate it again when I have placed it. So all the time, you don't have to activate it again. Then the precision, all the time, it is very, very, very important, and the pride all the time. Those are the 5 skills that I have all the time activated on the background. So, and now let's talk about the other skills. The molten shell, not the Vol molten shell, on our left click. Why our left click? We don't need to have the which one do you have? Like the default attack or the move only on this one? No. We are using the molten shell. Why? Because we are using the left click very often, and every time we use it, you will not see any difference on your movement, but you are activating molten shell. So you have a shield on you all the time when you click on left click, okay? And you're doing it instantly because you are like spinning around and sometimes left clicking to rearrange your movement and then to like use your leap slam. So that's a pro tip right there. Then the cyclone skill on our middle button of our mouse. On the right click we have leap slam, our movement skill. Then we got the ancestral war chief on Q. So that's something I'm using every time when I know, okay, I'm gonna stay a bit around, okay? I'm gonna stay on a place like many monsters coming or a boss fight. Then I'm using the summon stone golem often, but pay attention, guys, because this takes like 1 second until you cast, and 1 second in delirium or so it can be deadly because the explosion stuff is coming, and 1 second can really blow you away. Then the blood rage, you're using it all the time. I mean, I am using it very often. Then we got the Val molten shell. So Val molten shell, that's the one that we are using when I need a lot of shield. So I'm around at 5,000, I think it is. 5,000 of damage that it's taking before I take it. It's very good if you know you're going for a boss fight. And then at the end, the wall ancestral war chief, just like ancestral war chief, I just activate both when I know that I am staying somewhere or at the end of the delve node or so on or so on. And then pretty much I'm using all of my flasks like constantly, like the movement speed all the time, I'm clicking it all the time. Then the critical strike also, as well as the increased damage. What I would pay a bit more attention and not use it all the time like blindly, I would recommend you to pay attention to use the roomies, since it's very good for surviving, and as well as the life flask, because they are very important so that you don't die. So that was how I play it, and now let's not talk too much and let's go now for the last how will we call it, the last chapter of this video, the gameplay on the T16 map. Let's go. So and now we are gonna use the T16 map, a normal map, and I also will not go through the portal of Delirium signs. Maybe it's gonna lag on the video and I don't want that. So we are just gonna do this promenade map like this. So I'm using my right click, as you can see. Then I use my flasks, you know, for my damage. But as you can see, I mean, you see it, no problem. Look at my reflections doing the stuff for me, or the job for me. I mean, you're really not lagging on damage. So, and you will see that on the boss when we are arriving at the boss. So you're really like spinning around, killing, shredding everything, you know. Look at that. It is just unbelievable. I have no time to activate everything when we will be at the boss, you will see. Okay, I think we are here. Look, one boss and a second. It's a tier 16, as you can see, it shreds down. It could be maybe faster, but I think you don't need. I mean, we could like stop the watch and say that we killed those bosses at around 1 second each. So that was it with the T16 map, with the gameplay. I hope you're gonna maybe try this build. If you have any question, any comment, please comment under the video. If you have any new idea for a new video, if you liked it, if you subscribe, please do it. So I'm gonna upload even more videos because I'm having so much fun doing those, like really, and your support is being just amazing. So thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day, nice night, and I hope you will have fun with this build. So see ya, Exile, on the next stream on Twitch or on the next video. Bye bye, my friends. Love ya.